What up, though? It's your boy 76. You are now tuned in to watch Detroit. I got my man.
Nolan the Muff. Nolan the Ninja.
All right, Nolan the Ninja, man. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm all right.
That's all right. You all right? That's good, man. Detroit hip hop, man. Nolan the Ninja. Where does that name come from?
It comes from this right here.
Okay.
The We Ninja Shanimals. It's a company based out of Chicago, and I've been wearing them since I was like 16. My man Miles put me onto them, and like it was me, him, and another person only wearing them in school. So like that's what we were like kind of known for. That was like our customized accessory. So everybody kind of like, you know, and the whole alliteration of Nolan Ninja thing. You know what I mean? So.
Yep. So you're a producer, you're an MC. Now with your producing style, is that kind of like ninja because you're chopping them up, or
no?
How does it relate to your style as a MC and a producer?
Well, when I first came up with the Nolan the Ninja theme, it wasn't even on you know, I wasn't thinking like black belts or nothing like that. It was just I just thought it was an ill name, so I just kept it. And like when I started doing, you know, trying to go out and perform at shows and stuff, I didn't really like have too much of a solid name. So, you know, that's how I represented myself, and that's what stuck. You know, and the Twitter name was like Nolan the Ninja and all of that. So, you know, it just kind of stuck that way. You know what I mean? But as years pass, I mean, I guess I apply it, you know, like sharp rhyme, sharp mind, you know. I'm very stealthy with the movements, you know what I mean? Silent assassin.
I love that. Silent assassin? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. Now you're 21, right?
22.
22. Okay. Well, happy belated birthday. When is your birthday?
April.
Well, very happy belated birthday.
word.
22 years old, right? And we're talking about your rhyming style. You know, you said very, you know, sharp, and that's true. Where did your inspiration come from? Like, how did you get your style?
I just took in everything, really. You know what I mean? I didn't really necessarily follow in any footsteps. I just kind of just went with the flow. But the fast-paced flow just kind of came more natural. You know what I mean? I just felt like if I'm giving a person energy with the rhymes, you know what I mean, it has to be delivered in a more consistent, timely fashion rather than like dragged out. You know, so that's how I always rhymed. You know, whether I was writing the instrumentals or like making beats, it was always on some like 94, 95 BPM type vibe. It wasn't really on, you know, really mellow, but I'm a mellow person, which is like the ironic like aspect of it, because, you know, I'm chill, but like musically I'm like
Very true, man. And talking about your producing style, like who do you fashion yourself after anybody, or who are you listening to?
Who am I listening to currently? I mean, I just like to play a lot of the classic shit, really. Like, we bumping Cuban links in the car right now, like, stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because nowadays, music is just trash, you know what I mean? In my opinion, obviously. But I just like to play a lot of the classic stuff, you know what I mean? And not even necessarily classic from, like, 25 years ago, but even, you know, something that's, you know, only a decade old, you know what I mean? Like, some of the stuff my mom put me on to, like the Erykah Badu and the whole neo-soul aspect, Floetry, you know what I mean? Like, that type of vibe. So,
well, take us a little bit into you know, you as an MC. You know, what is the thought process that you go through when you're constructing like a rhyme? Is it the beat first and the rhyme? Like, is it the chicken before the egg, or the egg before the chicken? You know, what hatches first?
I mean, it really depends. You know what I mean? Sometimes I write from scratch, like to the beat as I'm kind of making it, or even if it's somebody else's beat. But you know, but a lot of times it's I kind of just come up with the song concept or the direction of the lyrics first, and then I apply that to the beat. Because once I have the lyrics, I already know what direction I'm going to go in. So if I'm talking about, you know, my neighborhood or something really deep per se, I know that the beat is more going to be on a sad tip, or I know which samples to pick, like pianos for sad, or like, you know, Rhodes for something mellow or something like that, you know. So it kind of varies, you know what I mean? I wrote on the spot, you know, for features and tracks, you know, but when it comes to my work, you know, I just kind of just work at my own pace, you know what I mean? So I guess majority, I would say song before beat.
Song before beat. Now, hip hop, because this is, you know, this is Detroit hip hop. What do you feel is the current state of hip hop in general, and also like here in Detroit?
Well, I'm gonna start with Detroit. Well, the current hip hop theme in Detroit, it has its different aspects. You know what I mean? Because some people, to me, you know, you have the hip hop and you also have the rap. You know what I mean? And the hip hop is the Guilties, the Elzais, the Fat Cats, the Clear Soul Forces, the Doc Illingsworth, and then you have the rap portion, which is, you know, the more street oriented rap. You know what I mean? The Doughboys and the Bezos and Dusties and, you know, stuff like that. So there's pros and cons with it. You know what I mean? Just like every other scene in the world. You know what I mean? You know, anything could be improved. You know, I just feel like that definitely it should be more balanced. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's not too much balance. It's like everybody's over here and everybody's over there. You know what I mean? And like it's kind of on some like click. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily saying, oh, we need to just make a We Are the World record and we all need to come together. But it's like, you know, just show some balance. You know what I mean? Like, you know, for example of, and I don't listen to the radio too often, but from what I do, what I have heard, you know, High 107.5, they spin like a lot of like the street rap and stuff like that, which is cool. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if the people ask for it, then put it out. But, you know, it would be cool to hear something, you know, to hear from Elzai. You know, it would be cool to hear from, or even some Slum Village, like even if it's vintage Slum Village. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily always have to be, you know, what's appealing or whatever. Like, if it's ill, just spin it. You know what I mean?
Now, what role do you feel that you as a producer can play into, because I mean there's a lot of people in your generation who are out here doing like Detroit Chains, I mean there's you know, and they're out here doing it. How can you as a producer and an MC kind of keep that soul of hip hop that you speak about here in the city and beyond?
I mean, well, ultimately I just do what I love. You know what I mean? I've never been the person to adapt to standards. I've always just kind of just did what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Because, you know, some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it, you know. So it's like, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I'd rather create off of a genuine vibe rather than trying to appeal to something. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just whack. Because I feel like the organic shit is going to last anyway. You know, like, the trends and the waves and shit, like, the shit is mad temporary. We've had tons of people, you know, you even had like niggas like doing the stanky leg. Those niggas, like, come on, you know, like that shit came out, and them niggas are like extinct now, you know. So it's like it's just waves and phases, you know what I mean? So that's why I always just encourage everybody to just do what you want to do and do what you feel, and don't necessarily be concerned with standards. You know what I mean? A lot of people think of it as a business before their art, you know, and I can understand both aspects. It's like, yeah, it's a business, you know, and you want to assure that your business is successful, but at the same time, you know, don't degrade the value of your art. You know what I mean? And I don't ever want to degrade the value of my art. That shit is just trash. I just make what I want to make. Can't nobody tell me shit. I'm not signing anybody, so it's like I'm so free and so open to do what I want to do. You know what I mean?
So let's talk a little bit about that. You know, being independent. You know, why independent? Do you want to stay independent? Why have you chosen that route?
I mean, I've had no choice but to stay the route. Like, I mean, there's been a couple people that hit me up like about opportunities and wanted to sign me and stuff like that. But ultimately, they weren't talking about shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, I really value my art. You know, so if you want to do something, like, it has to be something very. It just has to really intrigue me, like, okay, yeah, maybe this could work. But I mean, nah, I've had no choice but to stay independent. Like I said, I'm not signing anybody. You know, I don't have any huge mega investor behind me. Like, everything people hear, see is me. You know what I mean? Like, I mix the records. I got a master. You know what I mean? But, you know, I mix majority of the records. I make a lot of the beats. You know what I mean? I drive from show to show. So, like, I do it all. Like I told you, I'm free. I'm like, I'm a bird right now in the sky. I'm just so free. Like, I don't give a fuck about nothing. Cause it's like, it's not a business to me. You know, it's about making the art.
That's dope. Now, do you think that being from Detroit kind of like has kind of instilled that kind of work ethic in you, you know, grinding?
I wouldn't necessarily say Detroit did. It's just, you know, that's just the way I was brought up. You know what I mean? One thing about it is, you know, growing up, like, you know, I played sports and stuff like that. I was never like the superstar, you know. Like, I was always like, you know, Coach May put me in type. I was one of those niggas, you know what I mean? So, you know, I was just always about like proving myself and always like showing people like I am worthy of doing the same shit that the superstar is doing, or the same shit that the key players are doing and stuff like that. So I always took that and I just applied it to life. So when the music shit came, I just used that same ethic that I used when I played sports, football, basketball, and all that, and I took it to the music side, and it's the same shit, and it works better with the music side because you know, it's less physical work, so it's all like, you know, it's creation. So like, you know.
Well, I heard that you're a crate digger, right?
Yeah.
You dig in crates, and so
Word.
you know that's kind of a lost art. There's still some DJs that are doing, you know, the vinyl thing.
Word.
But you know, why crate dig? You know, why still keep that where you have like YouTube, you have iTunes where you can just kind of snag things without leaving your home? Like what important is that crate dig for you?
Oh, YouTube definitely still gets used because I don't have everything, you know what I mean, and everything can't be obtainable because some stuff is out of print, you know what I mean, and if it's out of print, that means it's high in value, so it's a lot of money, you know, which I don't have. So, but I just love the warm feels of it, you know what I mean, and that's why I called my company Crate Music, you know, and it's spelled like create, and it just really just means that we create off the crates, you know what I mean, and when you think of crates or vinyl, you think of classic, timeless, warm, soul, you know what I mean, those type of vibes. So that's the vibes that we instill in our music for today, you know, based off of the feels of those. So that's why, you know, it's more than just looping the Isaac Hayes record or looping drum breaks. You know what I mean? We're not taking, but we're just instilling the same essence that they brought on those records that caused us to reuse them, and we're gonna just do it over. You know what I mean? So, you know, and all the people that like influenced me, they they were big on vinyl. Like, you know, people like Dilla and Madlib and the Beat Miners, they didn't come up with YouTube. So like they literally had to go out and dig. You know what I mean? So I'm like, shit, let's keep it traditional. Let's go out and dig. What's wrong with going out to dig for an hour or two? You know what I mean? Get your tips dusty. You know what I mean? And play it back. It's easy, man. You play it back, smoke some herb, you know what I mean? You vibe out. Like that's more fun than be like hopping on YouTube and just like find something quick and put it in the YouTube to MP3 converter. Like, my generation is just lethargic. Everybody's lazy. Everybody don't want to do anything. You know what I mean? And that's why music is kind of fucked up now. You know, everybody's so quick to. People are just like, okay, so like, give me what's popping. Give it to me. You know what I mean? Nobody's like really trying to discover the art forms. Everybody's just kind of like, even the labels, like, you know, YouTube. Like back in the day, like A&Rs used to actually fly to different cities and go to open mics and stuff, and like at least find somebody with some potential. And it may not necessarily sign onto a deal, but just artist development. You know what I mean? So people don't do that shit anymore, man, and that shit is sad because it's like, cause that's why the art is being, you know, degraded now. You know what I mean? Because like people don't look at it like that. They just look at it like, oh, I want to bug out, I want to turn up, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that lyrical bobbity shit. But it's like, no. It's like, discover the art. You know what I mean? It's deeper than that. It's deeper than words. It's deeper than a beat. It's a connection. You know what I mean? Music makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to say that Marvin Gaye is a genius, but nobody wants to, you know, nobody wants to listen to Madlib or something like that. And it's like, bro, they're on the same shit. They put, the more work you put into your art, the more people will appreciate it eventually, even if it's not initially, you know. So it's just weird, man. But people think that vinyl, back to the moral of the story, vinyl does not cost a lot. Cause I'm a broke nigga, and I dig in the dollar bins all the time. You know what I mean? Take in 20, you get 20 cuts. You know what I mean? Sometimes the owners may throw, like sometimes the owner may give you like free copies, cause sometimes they'll have like 20 copies of the same record, you know. And they'll just give it to you. Like, I've had that done a couple times, you know what I mean? Where they'll just throw you like, hey man, you peep this? Like, hey, you need to listen to this, you know? So, yeah, vinyl doesn't cost that much, man. If you want that trendy vinyl, of course. Like, if you're trying to look for the acetate of Thriller, in Mexico, like, yeah, you're gonna pay a lot. But if you just want something to just possibly listen to or try to sample, dig in the dollar bins. Soul, rock, funk, pop, whatever you want. You know.
So who else in your generation is kind of doing what you're doing? You know, because I'm an '80s baby, just straight hip hop. So like, who in this generation of hip hop is awake and doing what you're doing?
In my generation, well, besides my man Simi 6 over there, my man Simi, you know, my man A-, my man Mike Melano, Jimmy Stoner, very creative motherfucker. Word up. Clear Soul Forces, we're not that big in age difference, like a few years, so I would consider them, I guess, you know, in my generation, by default. Them, yeah, man. That's what comes to mind right now. But that's not to say that there aren't other people that's doing it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that's doing it. Like there's kids that maybe a year or two younger than me. They'll tweet me their music, and sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't, depending on how you know. And sometimes it's like they're on the same tip. You know what I mean? I can't name all the names right now. But, you know, they know who they are. You know what I mean? They send me the music, and I'm like, yo, y'all need to check this shit out if y'all want that ill shit. You know what I mean? Beat tapes, all type of shit, crazy shit. You know what I mean? Guys Connect. It's a YouTube channel. Go on there, you'll discover so many. If you love Dilla, Madlib, go on the page. Just go on the page and just look at all the videos, and I guarantee that you'll be like, damn, there are so many talented producers out here. And it's not even just necessarily, you know, gritty boom bap type shit. You know what I mean? It's like mellow, experimental, crazy shit. Like shit that will bug you out. Like, damn, like what's going on? You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's encouraging. So you know, really point blank, why do you do what you do?
I do what I do because one, it's the only thing that I feel like I'm truly like great at. You know what I mean? As far as creative wise, you know, because everybody has a niche. You know what I mean? God instills a niche in all of us. It's just up to us to find it, whether we want to capitalize on it or not. You know what I mean? Like, even if you look at a lot of people, like you know, Mike Tyson or something like that. Like, they didn't just come out the womb like, oh, I want to box, or oh, I want to rap, or oh, I want to make. It just kind of gradually happened. You know, it's signs and shit. You know what I mean? And then they just take it for what it is. And look at him now. You know what I mean? Would you fight Mike Tyson?
No.
Nah, I wouldn't even want to be in the same room as that nigga. Like, if he way over in that corner, I have to make a move and shit.
So do you see yourself like a Mike Tyson on the mic, or a ninja?
No, that's Sean Price. Sean Price is the Mike Tyson on the mic.
How do you see yourself?
but no, I just, like I said, I'm young. I'm just so free, man. Like, I'm not concerned with none of that extra stuff. You know what I mean? Like, when I truly say I'm free, I truly mean I'm free. And my man Cutter told me, like, I just put out a beat tape about a month ago or so called Euphoria, and my man Cutter heard it like before it dropped. He was like, man, he was like, I envy you. And I was like, why? And he was like, because, man, like, you're just like so free with the samples, and like you just layering samples and stuff. Like, this shit is not being done today, really. You know what I mean? And like, that shit just kind of was like, yeah, you're right, I am free. Because I'm not thinking about no businesses. I'm not thinking about none of that shit. Because I never had to, and it's because I never had to be in it. Now, that's not to say that I don't have a business-oriented mind, because even with my independent, you know, I still have to have the business mind for, you know, for the shows and stuff like that. Like, there still has to be contractual agreements, like, in regards to those type of gigs and stuff like that. You know, but nonetheless, when I create, I don't want business to interfere with that, because it's like, I want to be free. I want to be able to make what I want to make. Because if you're telling me what to do, then you're going to limit my edge. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want that done, because at that point, I'm making what you want to hear. You know what I mean?
Well said.
Yeah,
very well said. So let's talk about, you say you had a mixtape that came out, right?
Yeah.
And then now you have the Ill Shit. It's called Ill Shit?
Yeah, the Ill Shit dropped in March, earlier this year, about like 9 months ago or so. Yeah. And Euphoria is the beat tape. Yeah, I just dropped like a month ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. Tell
us a little bit about your projects, man.
Oh, well, the Ill Shit, ultimately, it's just like the Ill Shit, like, and that's not, and I didn't mean to say that like arrogant, why, but I'm just saying, like, that's why I called it the Ill Shit, because it's just a I just feel like it epitomizes what the game needs right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why I called it the ill shit. Like, cause it's not no deep. It's not rocket science. There's nothing deep to it or nothing. It's just the ill shit. You know what I mean? That echelon feel. You know what I mean? That shit that you need. You know, the vibrant shit. You know what I mean? And the shit that epitomizes that true essence of what hip hop is and it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? So word. And Euphoria is strictly beats, all beats. You know what I mean? Beats, instrumentals, skits, you know, remixes and blends. The word. So.
Can you produce like for other artists? Like if I wanted a beat, like what's the process? How do I go through getting a Nolan the Ninja beat?
Because I'm digging in my eye.
That's okay. Yeah, no, that's okay.
No doubt.
You're ready. You say how
no doubt. But if you want to know a Ninja beat, just hit me up. Like you know, I got the email like on all of my pages and things like that. Like that's you know. I let people know if you need to contact me, go here. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not signing anybody, so it's not like, oh, you have to talk to, but and you have to get to me. Like, no, it's like contact me directly. You know what I mean?
And how do we do that? Like, what's your Instagram, your Twitter, Facebook?
Everything is Nolan the Ninja. Everything is Nolan the Ninja. Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp, etc. SoundCloud, Nolan the Ninja -1, because some want to steal my name and they uploaded one sound. It's like, dog, don't you hate that shit? It's like when you trying to take a name and like there's only one, and they took your name and they ain't even using the account. It's like some shit they created like 3 years ago and they never logged back in and shit. Yeah, so SoundCloud is Nolan the Ninja -1. That shit is trash. I want to just know, you know what I mean? But yeah, everything's Nolan the Ninja, man. I'm not hard to find. You know what I mean? Everything is straightforward. And if you want to contact me, yeah, you know what I mean? And speaking of beats, I just actually Mod, who's another ill MC out of Detroit, which is another person I would include in like my generation of like, you know, on that tip. I just produced a record for him titled Raw Shit, and yeah, so I worked with a few people, you know what I mean? So.
Well, tell us how we can get your project. What page do we need to go to? Is it?
Well, I prefer if you go to Bandcamp, because if you like it, buy it. Like I told you, I'm broke over here. You know what I mean? No money, just you know. So go get my projects. They're both on Bandcamp, and yeah, Bandcamp is you can buy it off Bandcamp, and it's downloadable through SoundCloud for free. But like I said, you know. It's an art form, you know. That's usually how products work, you know. You buy it if it's good, you know. Whether it be body wash or some shit, like you buy it if it's good, if you want it, you know what I mean? It's that simple, you know. But like I said, my people are lethargic. Like they'll hit somebody else for the zip before they hit, you know, before they pay me. But you know, but yeah.
So 2015, what does 2015 look like for you? You got projects on the horizon?
Oh yeah, definitely projects on the horizon. I don't want to really speak on it just yet, because it's still in the workings. It's mostly done. You know what I mean? But you know, I just love to sit on shit before I like announce it to the world and stuff like that. That's just the type of person I am. Like, I just love to sit on shit. So like, I like to get shit done like 6 months before release, just so I can be on it and just like sit on it and just be like, by the time I release it, I want that shit to be so old to me. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh man, I love that song. I'm like, what? I recorded that shit 2 years ago. You know. So I just, you know, it's a lot of stuff, man. You know what I mean? My thing is, man, I don't take life for what it is, because I definitely strive for things. You know what I mean? But you know, each day you never know what can happen. You know what I mean? So God willing, I make it through 2015 with progression, you know. So that's all I pray for. It's just like progression, and just to constantly live and be able to experience my growth. You know what I mean, and not have it to be cut short. You know what I mean? So. Yo, what's the word? It's Nolan the Ninja, chilling here with Watch Detroit, bringing none but that L. My man 76 about to represent for y'all the coronation, early 2015.
About to kick it like this.
Word.
Hey yo, it's in me, birth with the higher degrees. I write rhymes, nice dimes, yeah they fire the trees. At nighttime the mic's mine, you admire the steez. Cause I'm fly like an Astro project, the cash flow so wet. I'm back so you ask your whole set about the way I smash flows and lasso whole necks. I'm Castro, you assholes no sweat. Like Kobe with the ball in his hand, shooting the free throw. Homie, we can brawl in the sand, sorted my reach bro. Homie, see it's all in the man, pour it on beat slow, throw the cards. Like Remy LeBou in the pot raises, the spot rages when I drop the hot aces. Shocked faces, like cops that shot places. Preach the speech, sober streets, discreet smoker. Beats I speak over, leak the sweet odor. The peace holder, squeeze the heat to reach the grease solar. The feast is kosher, meats and roasters, seats and coasters, sweets and chauffeurs. Politicians rock pleats and loafers, poachers reach holsters. The beast is closer. I got my man Nolan the Ninja, come wreck this shit.
Yo, as I sit back, relax, blow a black, there's some flowetry and reminisce on when this shit was copacetic. See, nowadays niggas reckless. Even the adolescent carry some protection, cause the block is something sketchy. It's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. Battlegrounds are loaded, so it's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, no escaping out this fucking maze. Either you rolling or you mark a prey. Niggas is animals, no solution to antidote. All they seek is money and greed, just for flashing and for feeding they seeds. Brainwash, the shit is evident. Trapped inside the claw of the slums, more than likely they reside with their moms. Average niggas would define them as bums. The street niggas, we just see them as Tommy Buns. That's the difference. We all got a fantasy for the riches, but that's depending on how you willing to go and get it. Solidify the vision upon a star wishing with $1,000,000 visions. Yeah, the nigga penny pinching, black 'em out, ash flicking, smoking till it melts the tip. In the midst, we deal with life decisions. Cause life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get.
Cause you never know where you're gonna go, motherfucker.